Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJcity UK lab. Today we are looking at the DDJ-XP1, the new add-on controller from Pioneer DJ. This is the spiritual successor to the DDJ-SP1, which has been around now for some years. It really is a rock solid tank of a unit. I had this one, this is like a pre-production version, still going strong today. It's taken an absolute beating. And really the only thing that was out of date on this was the fact that the pads were not RGB. They were just blue pads, so whatever mode you were in, whatever cue you had set, it was always a blue pad. Whereas with the XP1, obviously now we have a lot of color going on. There is one big difference as well, one fundamental difference. The SP1 was designed for Serato DJ and later was mapped for Rekordbox DJ. You could use it with that. The XP1, Rekordbox DJ only. So this thing can only be used with Rekordbox DJ. It is a MIDI controller. You can map it to any other software that supports MIDI mapping, like Serato DJ. But if you want the native functionality, you're going to need to use it with Rekordbox DJ. So if you aren't using that already, then Pioneer DJ have got an incentive for you to do so in the box. It actually comes with a full license for Rekordbox DJ, the performance software, and the DVS plugin. So there's lots to talk about here. Let's get to it. There certainly is a lot to talk about with the DDJ-XP1, as it is a very busy controller indeed. Obviously, the standout feature, and something found on nothing really similar out there, is the set of 32 RGB performance pads, 16 for each deck. They are proper pads, not clicky buttons, and have a great feel when finger drumming. Pioneer DJ claim they have the lowest latency in the industry, and whilst I can't obviously verify that, they are very responsive indeed. With so many pads, the XP1 was bound to be a bit larger than its predecessor, but it's not actually that much bigger than the SP1, coming in at around the same size as a 13-inch laptop, and therefore perching comfortably on a DJ laptop stand. Construction is plastic, but it feels incredibly dense with no flex in the body, and the rubber feet mean it sits on a flat surface without slipping around. There's only one connection, the USB port, as the XP1 is designed to work solely off USB bus power. There's also a Kensington lock slot for security. So why 16 pads per deck? Well, as of version 5, Rekordbox DJ offers 16 cue points in the software, should you need that many, and it allows for the all-new keyboard mode. When you switch to that by pressing Shift and the Hot Cue Mode button, you can select a cue point and then key shift that cue point across 16 semitones, with more still if you use the page buttons to go even higher or lower. This really opens up some crazy on-the-fly tone play possibilities, and I can see the XP1 making a big impact on the Red Bull 3 style battle at some point in the future. The next mode is all about pad effects. These remain one of my favourite features of Rekordbox DJ, allowing instant control over a ton of different effects at the push of a button. Each one has editable parameters, and there are 2 banks of 16. That's almost too much really. My suspicion is that most DJs will set up one bank with their favourites and stick to those, relying more on muscle memory than looking at the screen to see what you're doing. Moving further right, we have the beat jump and beat loop modes, both of which work as you would expect, and they have a huge range of available values over multiple pages. And finally we have the sampler and key shift modes. Key shift works a lot like the keyboard mode, except it changes the key as the track is playing without jumping to a cue point. And the sampler mode gives you instant access to all 16 samples in a bank, and you can use shift plus the page buttons to switch banks on the fly as well. That all works very nicely, but I do find it strange that they've omitted the sequence recording controls from the XP1. That's an odd decision, as they are prominent on the range of all-in-one Rekordbox DJ controllers, and it is a cool feature. Moving up to the top of the XP1, we find the scrolling and loading buttons, which work as expected, and other more standard functions like quantize buttons and loop controls. The XP1 will work with 4 decks, and you can shift between the decks on each side by holding Shift and the internal mode buttons. Without Shift, those buttons are a handy way to jump into internal from relative mode and then back again when you're using DVS. Having an instant 4-beat loop at your fingertips is always welcome, and you can also manually set in and out points, trigger an active loop, re-trigger and re-loop in the traditional Pioneer DJ fashion. Combined with the beat loop pad mode, there really are a ton of ways to make loops happen on this thing. There's a slip reverse button which acts like a sensor button, although strangely no general slip mode control, and you have beat sync if you use that, and a master tempo button which turns key lock on or off. That can come in very handy as an instant pitch reset button should you get lost amongst the many key shifting options on the XP1. Adding to those options are the semitone buttons, which transpose the track up and down by naturally one semitone at a time. One of them offers another way to reset the pitch on a shift function, and the other key sync. That's one issue I do have a bit of an issue with in rekordbox DJ5. Whilst Pioneer DJ's standalone hardware and the software generally works with the Camelot key notation, the key sync will only work with your keys in regular musical notation. That's going to need changing to be any use to DJs who've spent lots of time curating their music with Camelot codes. Two more features to mention on the hardware. Silent Cue is fantastic. DJ Trey's demonstrated a method for this technique here on DJcity a while back, but here it's built into the XP1. You can have a track playing, hit the silent cue button, open the fader, and audible playback will start from that cue point as soon as you hit the cue. Like so much on the XP1, this is a feature aimed at performance DJs, but has potential for all kinds of situations. A great feature which I hope makes it onto other Pioneer DJ hardware in future. On the outside edges of the unit we have the slide effects controls. These are unique to the XP1 at present, with a choice of 3 selectable dedicated effects and a touch strip to control them. You can hit the hold button to keep an effect going after you lift your finger from the strip, and Pioneer DJ offer a really clever selection of effects for a touch interface, from echo outs to epic build-up effects. The sheer number of pad effects combined with the slide effects does make up for one fairly noticeable omission compared to the SP1, and that is the lack of knobs and buttons for the main effects units within rekordbox DJ. Clearly, Pioneer DJ think that different ways of controlling effects are more suitable for the kind of DJing the XP1 is designed for, and I get that. It just seems odd to see such a comprehensive control surface deliberately ignoring a big chunk of the software. Finally, it's worth mentioning the pad editor mode. This is again unique to the XP1 right now, and it's killer. You can very simply change the different modes on the controller to pretty much whatever you want, adding in pages like slicer mode which aren't on the unit by default if you want to. The coolest part though is the user modes, where you can mix up elements from different modes into one page to rule them all with, say, a combo of 4 hot cues, 4 pad effects and 8 loops, whatever you like really. It's a superb, easy to use feature, and I'll be very disappointed if it doesn't make its way to other rekordbox DJ hardware pretty quickly. So there you go, my take on the DDJ-XP1 from Pioneer DJ. You know, it's a great addition really to any rekordbox DJ setup. The value proposition that you get from it is going to vary according to the hardware that you're adding on to. So if you've got one of the big controllers like the DDJ-RZ, then a lot of the functionality on here, especially on the top section, you will have already on your existing controller. But there's still some unique stuff on here. There's 16 pads on each side, the slide effects and the silent cue and so on. This is all new. So that is still going to give you some value. But for me, the real killer app is to be using the XP1 alongside a DVS setup. So any of the mixers from the 250 Mark II right up through the range to the 900 Nexus 2, none of those have controls for loading tracks or cue points or anything like that. So this will be a huge addition to a setup like that. And of course, it's going to give you the licenses to do it. Even with the DJI MS9, which has pads, but one of the things that people often complain about to me with the S9 is that you can't have separate pad modes on each side. You can't have hot keys on one side, loops on the other. It's all or nothing on both sides. Whereas if you plug in the XP1 with the DJI MS9, you can have whatever modes you like on here, whatever mode you like on the mixer itself. None of it conflicts, and that's a really, really nice setup. So definitely I can see a lot of turntablists using the S9. They'll look at this with the licenses included, the DVS license included, and this could well turn their heads. Performance-wise, it works really well with the software. It all integrates perfectly, and I do love the hardware. You know, I've been just throwing this in my bag for weeks on end. It still looks as good as new, and I've no reason to doubt that it will last as long as the SP1, which has been one of the most solid bits of gear I've ever used. I can see this thing lasting for years without any issue whatsoever. The software itself, rekordbox 5 now is a stable platform. It works well. I've used it at many, many gigs. It has not let me down. There's some stuff that I'd like to tweak about it. We'll talk about that when rekordbox 5.1 comes along. But yeah, there's definitely some tweaks I would make. But as a platform now, yeah, it's solid, it's reliable, it does the job very nicely. And particularly in combination with the XP1, it does stuff that no other platform will do. So I think I'm seeing a lot more people get interested in Rekordbox DJ as time goes on, and as Pioneer DJ themselves seem to focus more on it. Now I know anecdotally and from the surveys that we do that the majority of our audience at DJcity are Serato DJ and even Scratch Live users, and they might not be wanting to make that jump to a whole new platform. But really, you know, Rekordbox DJ being the state it's in now, hardware like this coming along with these great new features, you know, if you're looking to switch it up, now could be the time. I think the XP1 is a great way to explore Rekordbox DJ. It's good value, great hardware, works great with the software. Is the time now? Well, that's up to you. Thank you for watching today. Make sure you subscribe for all our future tips, tricks, and product reviews. I'll see you soon.